Hello, welcome or welcome back to Heretic Owl Tarot. My name is Liz. I will be guiding you on this journey. And this journey is going to start with a yap sesh. I'm going to make an intro, basically, that I'll put at the beginning of all of the readings. Honestly, because I just cannot repeat myself 12 or 24 times. My throat and body refuse. So anyway, yeah. So I'm gonna put the timestamp in the description. So if you're just kind of like you can fast forward to when the reading actually starts. And it's actually kind of funny. Like I keep stutter. It's actually like I have a lot of energy in my body, and it's like it's all trying to come out at one time, and it's like making me stutter. I've had to redo this video. This is the fourth time so far, because it's like my mind goes faster than my mouth, and then I'm like confused. I'm like, wait, what am I saying versus like what am I thinking? Like, they're just like not lining up, which is interesting. Like there is actually a new moon in Sagittarius tomorrow, which is actually right on top of my Neptune. So maybe that's why. And it's a sixth house. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'm like, I'll find a way to blame astrology for anything. So I'm hoping now that I said that out loud and that I got that energy out of me, that I can just kind of like ground myself and get through this so that we can get on to the readings. So I don't know what I've already said already, but I will put the timestamp in the description so you can fast forward to when the reading actually starts. The first thing that I want to yap about, or that I want to share with you, is that I've decided, it's like I've been thinking about this for a couple weeks, but I haven't actually said it out loud. So it like keeps coming out weird, but whatever, like, well, it'll come out right at some point. But there's an offering that I want to extend to you. It's a 2-card spread, or a 2-card draw. The first card is the door, which is, the obstacle, the path, the, thing that you're coming up against, the opportunity, whatever, that type of thing. All the things that we think about when we think doors, right? It's either opening, closing, anywhere in between. It's something to also like step through and have curiosity around. And then the second card is going to be the key, which is the guidance or advice for how to move through it. And it will be written, and it'll be $3.33. Basically, how it will work is that you will Venmo me $3.33 and provide your email address in the description. And if you don't feel comfortable putting your email address in the description, I will provide my email address, and you can send me a screenshot of the payment. And then, of course, I'll have your email address to respond to. I'm trying to make it like as least complicated as possible. And I think that like if you make the thing private, then nobody else will see your information anyway. It'll be obviously just between me and you. So anyway, $3.33. It's a 2-card spread. Once I receive your, notification of your Venmo, then I'll shuffle the cards. I'll pull 2 cards for you, and I'll write down basically like what comes to me. And literally anything that does come to me. So there's not necessarily like a limit on how long or short it's going to be. I do intend to get those back to you within 24 to 48 hours, or shorter than that. I'm just kind of giving myself a little bit of a buffer there. And I'm going to be offering these for basically as long as it feels good, like for as long as the energy is there. So I hope that made sense. If you have any questions, of course, leave a comment, or you can reach out to me as well through email. Like I'll have my email in the description. Instagram works too. But yeah, so that's the most important part. I'm glad I actually got it out this time, though, and I'm trusting that it makes sense. The other thing for this reading, we're going to be doing a what is ending and what is beginning. And I was kind of like stewing or whatever, with the thought of doing 2026 readings. And I was just kind of like, ugh, like it just didn't feel quite right. Like I don't want to do like a 12-month overview, because who remembers that? Like, who remembers that? I couldn't even tell you if what I heard or saw like in any of the year ahead readings that like I listened to or watched in for 2025, right? So I don't want to spend a lot of time or even like dedicate a lot of time to going month by month. So then I was like, well, I could just maybe do just a general spread, what's coming, what's going, like what's going to be the overall vibe. That didn't quite feel. Anyway, it finally came to me last night that I'm sure you've probably heard in multiple places that 2025 is a 9-year, which is completion, right? And with that means that 2026 is a 1-year, which is obviously a new beginning. So it's, about clearing out cycles, what cycle is truly coming to an end, and what are we now, I want to say blossoming into, which is interesting. Like blossom never like crossed my mind, but it's like, what are we now I almost kind of like, I keep getting this image of like a waterfall of, it's literally just cycling into the next thing. Like it doesn't necessarily even feel like a big stop and a big start. But it's almost just like that, the natural progression or even transition. Like, what are we transitioning into? And I also, whoops, mother of pearl. I looked up like what were the last 9s and 1 years, right? So the last 1 year would have been 2017. And let me just give you an example for myself, because I also think it's really cool to just reflect on where you are, where you were, and also even just to kind of have like dates ish, or in this case, years, like, to think back to 2017, for instance, which was a 1 year. And what was going on for you in 2017, but also what was going on for you in 2016, because that would have been a 9-year, right? And for me, in 2016, I got married. I'm pretty sure I got married during a Venus retrograde, which is not good. And and I want to say maybe a Pisces eclipse. I want to say, I can't remember for sure, but whatever, that was 2016. In 2017, I left that marriage. I put down my soul dog, the dog that like grew up with me, basically, kind of, I got her when I was, I think I was 19 when I got her. And when I put her down, I was 30 something. I'm like, what's dang it, I keep hitting the wrong button. That is so annoying. Let's see. I can't do math that fast. 34. In 2017. I was actually 33. I had to put her down in April. My birthday was in May. And actually, 5 days after my birthday is when I separated from my husband. And then a week after that is when I moved out. Didn't look back. I moved 3 times. Let me see. 1, 2, 3 times. Within 6 months. I moved into the place that I've been in since then. Like, so I've been here for the last, 8 years, 9, however long, however long that's been. And yeah, so that was my that was my 2016 and 17 actually too, which is interesting, is that going back even further, 2008 would have been the previous 1 year. And in 2008, I got my first like college degree. I got an associate's in graphic design. I got my first like real adult job, which was terrible, but I was independent, on my own with that. And then, so, that would have been a 1 year. I got that degree. I got that job. I can't remember if like anything else major happened that year. I don't think so. I might have moved like closer to that job. I just can't remember if it was that year or the following year. But also, okay, so 2008 would have been a 1 year. Then 2016 was a 9 year, which would have ended, that cycle. And in 2016, I got a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. So it's just kind of interesting how, within that period of time, I got like 2 degrees and also like really officially ended my college or, like continuing education or higher education career, basically, because I don't think I would go back I've thought about going back for like, like an ultrasound technician or like x-rays or, something like that. But I just don't think I can. So anyway, it's interesting, so yeah, I mean, this is also an invitation for you to just kind of reflect and, where are you now? Where have you been? Did anything major happen in those years? The 1 year prior to 2008 would have been 1999, which is kind of funny because there was like that whole Y2K, kind of thing that was like happening around that time. I mean, obviously that was, the year 2000, but it was like the freaking out, also Prince has a song, 1999, hello. The prior one would have been 1990, and then 1981, 1972, 1963. So basically, subtract 9 from there or add 9, whatever. But yeah, it's just kind of cool to look back and also even just to like kind of welcome in a fresh beginning and to recognize too, like where you are, and maybe there are patterns or relationships, behaviors, thoughts, jobs, careers, whatever, that you have released or healed, from, and that's creating the energy or allowing the energy for you to move forward, and like I said, like transition into something new. And also, like, I don't know if it is just me or if it's like a collective thing of feeling ready for it. Like, I think I mentioned maybe the curiosity thing, which I think curiosity also breeds excitement. Just like being open, trusting ourselves, really just staying connected to our own truth. So, I haven't quite like necessarily figured out what the spread is going to look like. I think what we're going to do is pull some cards for like what is completed. Maybe I should write this down. So one pile, what's completed or ending. It's not even like leaving. I think completed is a good word. And then pile 2 is what's I keep wanting to like write starting, like what's starting. But again, it doesn't feel like a stop start. And I just cannot think of the word that, like, I mean, transition is like coming through, but it's like, what is another word? And like, do we look up the thesaurus? What's unfolding? Taking shape. Coming into focus, maybe. Activating. Okay. I mean, we'll see what words end up finding their way in, like, once I'm shuffling the cards. But like, what are we, like, I keep also wanting to say like falling into, because like I was saying, I keep seeing this like waterfall. Which also like feels very Fool card. Taking that leap, going with the flow, trusting. Also even just the water thing with intuition, and even like trusting like those big emotions. And I'm thinking even too, like the actual waterfall part, right, where it's the water actually falling. That to me almost kind of feels like the transition part, right? Because it's kind of like there's a direction that the water is heading into, right? But there's not necessarily control of it either. There's a direction and trust. Like, so honestly, I even fucking love that. Wow. I think these readings are actually going to be beautiful, and I'm really excited to get into it. And also, I just want to say, how cute is this effing tarot bag, dude? I'm going to put the Etsy shop of the girl who creates these in the description as well. She has 3 different sizes of these. I only have this size, but I have 3 or 4 of these all in different fabrics, but this one holds like this size of a tarot deck, but it'll hold a larger one. Like it's almost like oracle deck size. But look at the, you can choose 2 different fabrics. I'll keep a deck in there, and then I'll keep a selenite wand in there also, which is, it's like perfect. There's a clip, oh, I'm obsessed with these. And they're not just necessarily for tarot decks, but also, like it holds its shape. Like, bro, look at this. So cute. So anyway, we're using the Light Seer Tarot because honestly, like this is probably like my all-time favorite deck. And I'm also so glad that it said yes to me to do these readings, because before every reading I do, for YouTube readings, I'll ask, do you want to do all of the readings? Because you got to do them all. But I shuffle the deck and either a yes card comes out or a no card. And I honor that, because we're all about consent over here. So anyway, I'm so glad that the Light Seers Tarot agreed to do these readings for us, because again, like I think that they're going to be beautiful. And I think that's all that I want to say for now. So let's jump into the reading. Great. So this is a reading for Cancer, wherever Cancer is in your chart. If you watch the intro, there is a description of, or an overview or whatever of the reading. Just really quick, there's going to be like one section over here that is what was mastered in 2025, and then the other side is going to be what is unfolding in 2026. These readings have been so beautiful lately, and I'm so excited to see what comes through for Cancer. We're just going to do like maybe, 2, 3 cards. I mean, 3 is my favorite number anyway, so it's usually 3. We have the 9 of Pentacles, the 8 of Pentacles, and the 9 of Swords. Interesting. 2 9s. Not to mention, too, that it's a 9 year, right? Interesting. Okay. Let's see what is unfolding for Cancer in 2026. Just really quick, I want to point this out almost in part because I don't want to forget, but see this white bird here? And then there's this white bird over here. Interesting. How many cards is this? 3? Perfect. You couldn't see it because of how it like came out of the deck, but like these 2 cards came out, and then this one like kind of fell out as well. So that's interesting. We have the King of Swords, the Magician, King of Wands, excuse me, weird. King of Wands, 8 of Swords. We have 2 8s, 2 9s, a 1. I love that there's 9s over here, about like what we have mastered. Let me kind of like move these around a little bit. We can kind of spread these out. Like we can just put this in the middle. No. Anyway, okay. So yeah, we have like the 9s over here, the 1 over here, which is, what is unfolding. And of course, 2026 is a 1 year. Like that's kind of what's driving the intention of these readings. So let's start with what was mastered. It's interesting because it's almost like this feeling of, let's see. It's okay. I can feel it. I can hear it in my head, but it's like a matter of, saying, like getting it out of my mouth. That is usually like the problem, Like, does that happen to you? It's like you can hear it in your head, but it's for some reason you cannot pronounce the words. So anyway, also though, I want to say that maybe we'll take this reading a little bit slower. Like usually when I start feeling that way too, it's like I'm trying to rush myself or, like something like that where, there's like a lot of like judgment in that too. Like, why can't I just, so anyway, yeah, I mean, let's just relax. And, basically, I mean, literally let the message like come however it's going to. So what I was, working on saying before that little tangent was that there seems to be this play on what is happening in the external world, like our physical world, and then the perception of it, or the way that we think about it in our heads. And a lot of work going into what that is, for one, and why. Like why that is. Like, I don't know about you, but like for me, it's kind of like a double-edged sword, because I definitely do intellectualize things. And I think that, the act of intellectualizing almost kind of influences or affects feeling things. But also at the same time, it's like, if I don't understand it intellectually, like how can I feel it? Right? And it's interesting, we don't have any feeling cards on the table, and that's the direction that I'm going in, at least for now. But also, I mean, our thoughts affect and influence our emotions and vice versa. Right. And it also has an effect on how we are perceiving and moving through our physical lives and the decisions that we're making around that as well. So I love that the Eight of Pentacles is between the Nine of Pentacles and the Nine of Swords. First of all, nines are self-mastery. So again, I fucking love that there are two nines in the on the mastery side, right? And especially too that they are very individual, very personal, because again, like nines are individual completion. Tens are when we feel complete with the whole or with the collective, or there's a communal or like family thing. Harmony is like coming to mind, or it's like, anyway, okay. So like I said, like I love that the 8 is between the nines, because that's also like putting in work. She's like literally sitting at a desk here. Like, there's some books over here. There's some herbs and stuff over here. They're holding a candle, which is kind of funny because it's almost kind of like forcing yourself to like confront something, but then like finding something to distract yourself with too. Like I'm sitting at the desk. I have all this, stuff in front of me, but ooh, shiny thing, you know? But also like, I feel like that's like almost reaching for comfort type of thing. Because it feels like whatever it was that you were working through, maybe it was like pretty heavy. Maybe it had to do with self-worth and the direction that you're taking your life in, like maybe it had to do with your finances, your health, your time, your energy, right? Like what you're doing with all of those things. Like, what are you doing for work? Is that in alignment with, the energy that you're putting into it, the time that you're spending on it, the skill that you have, your health, like what's up with that, and, the Nine of Pentacles is about independence and financial freedom and even maybe establishing a healthy routine. And what I love about this Nine of Pentacles, which it has only ever come through this way, like during these readings, which is also why I love tarot and also why I love that this deck agreed to do be the one to do these readings. Because I know I mentioned it in the intro, but this is my favorite deck. And I feel like every time I use it, like I notice something different, or just the images on the cards, like, it comes through differently, right? I mean, that's the magic of tarot, I feel. And so, they're reaching for not the biggest pentacle, right? But the one that they feel divinely guided to. I actually, this card came out for the Gemini reading. It was the first card to come out for them too. Maybe you have some Gemini placements. It doesn't even have to do with them like connecting in any type of way. It's not like, it's not like every time the Nine of Pentacles comes out, that it's connected to like some other reading. But the dove symbolizes peace, purity, hope, the Holy Spirit, divine presence, love, new life, messengers from God across many cultures. Let's see. Where was the I thought that there was like something else. Rebirth, redemption, start of a new chapter, which I love because this is like the closing out of one, the starting of another. But this dove, though, it does feel divinely guided. Your intuition, God, source, divine, higher self. It's like trusting that you're being guided to maybe not the shiniest or the biggest deal or thing, whatever it is, but it is the thing that for one has the most potential for you, and for two, it is in alignment with you. Because there's also, there's this big pentacle down here. So there could be something that it's almost like whatever this one in the basket is for you, it's reached its full potential. It's, it's given you everything that it is going to give you. And there's a message about moving on to the next thing, choosing the next thing. And maybe that next thing, again, right? Like if you're looking for bells and whistles, if you're looking for, again, the shiniest presentation, it's like, that's not the thing. And all those bells and whistles, all the shiny stuff, right? It's just a presentation. Did I say the word presentation? Anytime I think of like the word, or I say the word presentation, I think of Megamind and like when at the end when he like turns good, quote unquote, and he comes like running out of his little ship. He's like, presentation. I don't know. Anyway, I also love that movie. So yeah, it's like, it's literally just, it like doesn't, all those bells and whistles, the shiny stuff, right? Like it doesn't, it's nothing that adds benefit to your life. Like it's nothing that makes anything easier. It's not, anything that, ups your income. It's just like the shiny stuff that, they draw you in with, but it doesn't add value, right? It's just like smoke and mirrors type of thing. So, feeling divinely guided to the thing that, maybe it's very practical. It's very like straightforward. There's no bells and whistles to it, but the potential for growth and ripening actually like came through, of that opportunity is there. And even, trusting that guidance, trusting your intuition. Even if your brain is freaking out about it. Um, and even with the Eight of Pentacles, like being in here too, like, I mean, there was a lot of time and attention and energy, resources put into a thing. Because like the Eight of Pentacles is about like muscle memory and repetitive acts, right? I mean, it's like, what did they say? Like it takes 2,000 hours or 10,000 hours, something, in order to master a craft. So that's like what the Eight of Pentacles is dedicating your time, your literal physical presence, like sitting there. Even too, like, I know we don't have the Temperance card out here, but it's, trying things, putting different things together, trial and error also, but that it's all in an effort to master something. It's, oh, did these things work together? Yes or no? Like, what about these things? What if I add this? What if I subtract that? That's like all the stuff that you do when you are, learning something new or developing your skills, right? Like you kind of play around with stuff. Even again, with the books here, with the herbs over here, the candle, it's like experimenting. But then also at the same, even through those experiments, like you're still developing your skills, you're still learning, you're still progressing forward. Like all of that counts, right? But there's something here with the Nine of Swords where it's like, that is not the story that you've been telling yourself. Like that is not the perception that you have had, and maybe it is because there's some sort of impact or effect on your independence and your financial stability. And maybe it is because you're like, I've been putting in so much fucking time, or I've been in this position for so long, or whatever, like if it has to do with your health, I mean, anything that we're talking pentacles wise, right? Like, because the Nine of Swords is about anxieties, fears, doubts, right? There's all these crows flying above her head. And I don't know, like the last time you heard some crows, and especially a lot of crows together, but it is overstimulating and loud. And chaotic. Crows actually represent change. Let's see. Oh, what did I say? Transformation, change, mystery, and messengers between worlds. And that could be the thing too, like just not. I was literally just saying this to a friend earlier, actually, to like when you are in a period of high anxiety, right? Like when you are just spiraling, or the gremlins are getting really loud, your concerns, your fears, your worries, your whatever, when they are just so fucking loud and overwhelming, it is really hard to hear a message. It's really hard to, and we have this messenger here. I mean, that's why I'm saying, like, it's interesting that there is, it's like an outline of like a white bird. It almost kind of looks like a ghost, I guess, like in this card. But it's interesting though that we have this dove over here and we have this white, bird over here. So I'm just kind of connecting the two. But it's really hard to hear or even to see, this one bird when you are in the middle of anxiety or panic, fears, doubts, right? All of the what ifs. This is also the thing that keeps you stuck. It's the thing that brings you back to old patterns and old behaviors, because that's what our brain does. It wants safety. And, if we're making decisions and we're doing things in our physical life that are different. There was this thing that I wrote down, like the other night laying in bed, like I just was just getting like download after download after download of like quotes that I want to use in templates. But there was this one that uncertainty happens when we break patterns. Because here's the thing, right? Like our brain wanting certainty and answers and shit like that, right? That's homeostasis. That's pattern and programming. And that's our story also, right? Our beliefs and shit. And so when we start actively making decisions to change things, our brain starts freaking out, because it's like, hold up, like we haven't been down this path before. I have no information for what is going to happen. I cannot tell, because we haven't done this before, or in this capacity, in this way, whatever. If this is going to work out, if we're safe, if we're supported, we're taken care of. Like, no. No. Uncertainty is uncomfortable. Like, go back, right? Like, we know that by taking these steps, these actions, right? Like, we know what happens, that we have information for what the outcome is going to be, right? Like, that's how we end up like back inside, and it's just like automatic. It's just like that, That's why too, like they tell you to take like minuscule steps, like when you are changing literally anything, because if you go too big too fast, your brain is just going to freak out, and you'll just wind up back in the same pattern, which is all information too, right? Like there's no right or wrong way. But anyway, that's, kind of like this whole Nine of Swords energy. But again, it is a completion. So maybe you have come to acceptance of what those fears are, it's like it's feeling the anxiety, but not getting swept away by it. Like, maybe it is journaling about it, or therapy, or some other type of writing, like writing poems, like drawing, painting, some sort of like creative, some way to get it out of you, because it's like I can recognize what that is. I know I'm freaking out because I'm taking, different steps here. My goals are different. I'm putting in work in this specific, kind of way. And it's literally almost like reparenting yourself through, or like babying yourself through it, because it's part of the process. I don't really know how you like stop that anxiety from coming up, but I know for me personally, it's like I'm so sick of like getting lost in it. And I'm also like sick of the same old fucking story, like sounding like a broken record. And it's kind of like the only way to affect change with that is to like change the record. Like, you know, recognizing a pattern, or recognizing a way of thinking, again, like the programming, the beliefs, the blah, blah, blah. And somehow interrupting it, and somehow not prescribing to it still. Prescribing, subscribing, either way. And also too, like just knowing what it is. Like, I'm freaking out because I'm doing shit different, and that is scary, but I want to have a different experience. I do feel guided this way. I have been trying things. I have been, experimenting. I have been working on things. And just because I can't see how that's going to go, I'm still going to honor my intuition and, my guidance from God, or, I'm still going to allow myself to proceed forward, because this is what feels right. My fear is just going to be fear. Like, it's just going to be there. Like, I'm not allowing that to stop me anymore, which is beautiful. And then over here, for what's unfolding, we have the King of Wands, the Magician, and the Eight of Swords, which is also so funny. Like, it's kind of funny that the two swords cards are like at the end, because there's like this buildup. There's, this good stuff that's like happening, and then your brain is like, ah! What are we doing? And also, it's like one of those things too, where, what is that saying? Like, some people just need to be shown. Like, if you like share a goal or a dream or an idea or something, like with somebody, and they're just like, I don't see it. That's not going to work. First of all, shut up, right? Like, shut the hell up. That's their own projection, right? Because they could never imagine, having a goal like that, doing it, taking action in that way, whatever, right? Like, don't let that stop you. Also, let that fuel you too. Like, truly. Let that recharge your battery a little bit. Don't let it, like, don't absorb it in a way where, it's more doubt. It's created doubt and anxiety within myself. Fuck no. Like, just allow that to fill your battery of fuck it, like your fuck it battery. But, what was I saying? Oh yeah. I'm like, what was I saying? Yeah, like, some people need to be shown. It's like they can't possibly imagine, right? Like I said, they can't imagine something like that existing. They can't imagine doing it themselves. They can't imagine taking the action. They can't imagine the goal, right? But it's like once you start doing it, and once you start seeing like results and actualization and shit, they're like, oh man, I could not imagine that happen. Like, I know you said that already, you know, but like they have to be shown. And also, don't let that be your, well, maybe listen, spite and rage are like, for me, oh my God, especially rage. Like I could build a whole house if I was if I was like, you know, mad enough. Or like usually, like if somebody made me that mad, like I literally could build a fucking house probably in 24 hours off of that, energy. But it's not like an energy that I like being in, but fuck, I get a lot of stuff done when I, so anyway, okay. Yeah. And two, we're talking about other people, which it's interesting. There's no other person in these cards anyway. So we're not necessarily talking about other people, but maybe it's that you need to be shown of like what is possible. Like your brain needs to see it too. Like your brain needs to know that, you know, the steps that you are taking, you're safe, right? Like you're protected, you're supported. You're not making any, you know, crazy moves that are, you know, going to put you in danger, or, you know, all the other shit that like your brain is talking about, that you're not capable, that you know, don't deserve, or that, whatever, you know, like nothing's ever worked out before, or, you know, like our brains also need to experience that told you so thing, you know? So anyway, like it is interesting that the two swords cards, I mean, we have Mercury out here, with the Magician, which is either earth or air. It's, you know, Gemini and Virgo. But that the two swords cards that are out here are like the mind fuck, you know, kind of, and we have the Eight of Pentacles and the Nine of Pentacles. We have the Eight of Swords and the Nine of Swords out here as well, which is interesting. You know, I don't know. I mean, like the odds of that happening. It's almost it almost kind of feels like cause and effect. Is that how I want to put that? Like, is there something else that's like similar to that? Because it's like the cause or the action. I don't know. I don't know how else to like say that, but you know, it's like this work that like you've been putting in is what has brought you to the Nine of Pentacles. And the Eight of Swords is like a self-inflicted mind prison. It is, you know, self-sabotage and limiting beliefs. And feeling trapped in that, or like feeling like you can't get yourself out of that. Also even believing that that is true. Whatever the self, you know, whatever the limiting beliefs and the self-sabotage and those things, like it's also believing those things to be true. And cause effect, right? Like that story, those gremlins, as Brene Brown calls them, that's what's causing the confusion and the spiral, and, you know, the not being able to see the light or the truth, or the way out type of thing. So yeah, um, King of Wands and the Magician. It feels like this trust in yourself, this confidence, like motivation, curiosity, excitement, like those type of things. And it really is, like feeling the fear and doing it anyway. Which to me, like, whenever I hear that, because again, right, like I have to like intellectualize everything. I've literally in my head made fear into a person. I mean, it's like a version of myself, right? But when I imagine that, like I literally just imagine a version of myself where all of that fear lives. And I talk to her like in that way, like, okay, yeah, I know that you're scared. Me too. But it's either we try it and we live and we see what happens, and maybe we have a good time, and maybe it creates opportunity, or it also is going to just get us to be in a place that's more clear, or I don't, and I keep like ruminating, and I keep thinking like, man, like my intuition, or I feel like God is calling me in a direction. But my fear is the thing that is preventing me from honoring that. Like, fuck you. Like, what? Because you're scared? Like, literally, that's like how I talk to myself. And listen, I'm not going to lie. Like, there's still plenty of things that I don't do because I'm scared, or because, it just kind of becomes this huge like thing in my head. But I do try my best, like I was saying over here about like breaking or interrupting programming or interrupting patterns. I do still try to take steps towards that thing. Um, and what's going to happen is that you are going to decide if you like it or not. Does it fit or not? Are there certain aspects of it that you like and certain aspects that you don't like about it? You're gonna also like recognize that you did it and you lived, and it wasn't as bad as like you thought, it was going to be. And also even like dropping any type of like expectation around any type of like attachment to an outcome, you know? It's also interesting how like in the Eight of Swords, all of the crows are like around her, and they're the ones that are wrapping the string around her. Also, that is only happening in the mirror, but like in real life or whatever, right? It's like, was I saying that over here? I think I was. Shit. I can't remember, but I think I was saying that like, the what is happening in your physical life is not like how you're perceiving it. Right? Like that's literally like this card. That's like putting a smile on, but you're actually really depressed type of thing. Like those commercials. Um, So yeah, it's also interesting that I was even talking about like my little thing, like how I don't know, I guess like how I've created a person in my head that is a version of me that is the fear version of myself, and that way too I can just be like, okay, well, be scared, but we're going to do it anyway. um because what's the alternative? Not. I also saw this, or I heard this other thing. It was about like a small business owner, and she was talking about like not feeling confident about showing up on social media. But like her business is also struggling, and she feels like maybe social media can help her drive business, right? But it's the confidence thing, and also like what do you even do like on social media? um and the answer to that was, what would be worse, closing your business or posting on social media? And it's like, boom, right? Like, what would be worse? Allowing fear to prevent you from doing anything, or just fucking doing it anyway and being scared at the same time, Um, because I also think too that like not acting is also like what is driving the mental anxiety and fear and stuff, right? Because it's like you know what you want to do, and by not doing it, it's like creating this like pressure and unfulfilled potential even, and right, like ooh. So anyway, um there is clearly though this new beginning. It is like trusting that you have what you need. And I also think that you are going to be showing up in different ways. I mean, maybe you are going to be like going after a promotion, or some sort of taking on additional responsibility, putting all of your skills and wisdom into practice, maybe branching out on your own in some capacity. Maybe it would be something in addition to, like maybe it is posting on social media. I also feel like this King of Wands, anytime I see this specific King of Wands, it also feels like divinely guided. And there is a big courage, bravery, strength aspect to it because of this lion back here, which is like associated to the strength card. And also, again, like anytime I see this specific King of Wands, it's kind of like there is no other option, or maybe you're not giving yourself a different option. Like maybe you are going to just really push yourself through something, because it's kind of like if there was a lion behind you at whatever distance, right? And if you had a decision to like keep moving forward or to turn around and head towards a lion, I mean, just because it's friend shaped and fluffy and soft, like that shit's gonna eat you. So you have to push it forward, keep it moving, and whether that's you, or if that's you honoring this the divine guidance, if that's honoring God, or yourself, or your intuition, whatever. right? Like it kind of seems like you're in this energy of, and also all this yellow. Solar plexus. There's a lot of blue, which is throat, the green with the heart, red with, the root and grounding. But yellow with the solar plexus is creativity, confidence, willpower, self-esteem, motivation. And with the root too. It's interesting because, the root chakra in this card is kind of plugged up a little bit, a little confused even. The King of Wands is in motion. But yeah, you could be just in this energy of next year. I'm just gonna push myself out of my comfort zone a little bit, like, and I'm gonna get comfortable with doing that, because for however long, I haven't. But also, it's like, having this clarity over here, even maybe like a different personal worth, trust in yourself, goals as well, some sort of, new found independence, liberation. Now over here, it's like taking action towards those things, and maybe it's different than any way that you're like your approach is different. And the only thing that will ever be in your way is your own mind. So, it's like, don't allow that to slow you down. Because it's always going to be there. Like your story is always going to be there. And maybe it does trip you up for a day or two. Because like I said, like I don't know how you prevent that from happening. Especially like Cancer, like I'm a Cancer rising, especially Cancers in general, right? Like we're ruled by the moon, and who knows how we're going to feel on any particular day or time, So it's like allowing yourself, and also even the cycles of the moon here. There's a new moon today, actually, the last one of the year in Sagittarius, which, if you are Cancer rising, is your sixth house of, daily routine, work, health, coworkers, I think is in there. What is the other? Let's see. There's something else. Like the 12th house is hidden enemies, daily routines, work, health, service, responsibilities, practical upkeep of life, self-care, how you serve others in everyday tasks, misfortune, accidents, illness, and injury. Dang. There's a good and bad to everything anyway. I don't want to read all this. Pretty negative description. Sounds very archaic. Yeah, that's why I was like, huh? Precision and meticulousness, healers, craftsmanship, which 8 of Pentacles. But anyway, if you have a different rising sign, then your Cancer house would be in a different position. But also too, like with the magician card, I always bring up Harry Potter because the magician card says you have exactly what you need to do the thing right now. Because we sometimes like get stuck in, I don't have enough this, I don't have enough that, I don't have, it's not a good time, it's not, but right, like all of these fears and anxieties and shit, right? But the relation to Harry Potter is the Sword of Gryffindor, and it shows up to exactly who needs it for the exact purpose that they need it at the exact time that they need it for. That's a magician card. All you have to do is take action. All you have to do is move forward, have courage, be brave, right? And what you need will show up for you in divine timing. And it'll be exactly what you need at the exact moment that you need it for the exact purpose that you need it for, whether it's connections, resources, love, I'm trying to think of like all of the elements, motivation, whatever it is, it'll show up for you, and it'll become more clear as you proceed forward too. And that also could be the thing that unravels this I almost said eighth house. Interesting. This 8 of Swords. Because you're not doing something. You're not honoring your intuition anymore. You're doing it, even though your brain might be freaking out about it. But eventually you will get clarity. You will get information. You will have more of a direction. And this is what's unfolding, right? So this is what you are going to be doing. And I love that for you. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for allowing me to read your cards. I will talk to you soon. Bye.